And so what we've got going on now is a really big karmic release and completion, and it can feel sticky and it can feel hard and it can feel really, really painful. I can tell you the intensity of what's happening to my students and my private clients is amazing. And yet because we're together, we all know this is about your path. So it's all good and you're in the right place. And welcome, Akasha here, Nan Akasha. Super excited to have you here today. The dolphins are playing. We've got our dolphin retreat in March. I hope you'll come. Please contact me so we can talk about whatever you need to know, because they're more active than I can ever remember them being, and I've had a lot of experiences over the years with them. So today we're just going to acknowledge our beautiful dolphins here and all of our other guides that are here to help us through this karmic goo. Monday was a super intense day, so if any of you had an intense day on Monday, I had so many messages coming in to me from clients and students, and I was processing an enormously huge old karmic blob of goo that I was living inside of. So all the work you've been doing, all the work that you are doing, whether you know it or not, you have been working towards this moment. So 2.5 years ago, Saturn went into Aquarius. Saturn is about karma because it's about restrictions. Saturn is that strict teacher, that strict authoritarian, or the father that takes away your car. It's that part that says, no, do it again. It's never good enough. And it creates structures. So there's always both sides to everything. Remember, both sides to everything. It's just a dial. Lack is here. You turn the dial. You go through a little more kind of medium, all the way up to epic abundance. Okay, those are the two ends of the same thing. So Saturn and any of these planets or any of these energies, when we look at astrology intuitively, we need to be careful. We can look at what has been said. This means that. Mars means aggression and war. Mars also has another aspect, and you rarely ever hear anyone talk about that. So you are on the path of coming into balance. You are on the path, the right path, the Buddhists say, the Buddha path, Buddhism. So it's being in right mind and being in right action and being in what does that mean? It means accepting that you're right, that you are correct who you were, that you were designed correctly despite what anyone has told you, what anything you believe, what anything you think something that happened to you meant. People abused me, betrayed me. I made money, I lost money, I never made enough money. I was too fat, I was too thin, I didn't have education, whatever it is. It is your story. And it's been woven in. You helped design the story, but this story is a really big story. So you're the pinnacle of your soul. You literally are the pinnacle lifetime of your soul, because in this moment, nothing has ever happened like this before. And so we're having this grand metamorphosis or grand transformation, or depending on the ancient culture or the science, astrology, astronomy, or whatever you listen to, they all say this is the grand societal reset, is what the astronomers were saying. And why? Because they see the energies of what we say, Saturn means this and the moon means that, and they see them coming in relationship and moving around. And that's why we talk about, today, the big thing is the sun is conjunct the Saturn. And Saturn is the one that brought this karma up. So yesterday I had a private session. One of my private sessions yesterday had, I said something because they were like, this stuff's coming up and I'm so annoyed and I'm irritated. And even when I'm at the grocery store, people are irritating me, and that never happens to me. I'm very similar to that. Those small things really don't get on me. I rarely get upset. I process, I accept, I cleanse, I clear, I do all my light body work that I teach all the time. And so my life has become not this up and down emotional stuff. I still have all the things experienced in my life that you do, but I don't ride that. I go, that's interesting. And I find my optimal state, and my optimal state is to realize that my computer is not is plugged in, but is not working. So let me move the plug real quick or we will die. Perfecto. Thank you. I love it when guides are like, look, I looked at it 3 times and I'm like, I'm busy. And then I was like, oh yeah, my computer is very old and it would probably die any second here. So muchas gracias. And so that's what you're in the middle of. Now it's been going on for 2.5 years. So this client yesterday said, oh my God, that's almost exactly the time frame that all these issues have been coming up. And we've been working with her last year, which was epic. Most people had a pretty epic year last year. Big ups, big downs, big breakthroughs, big breakdowns, and all kinds of stuff trying to poke us from the exterior. Oh, there's a recession and inflation and blah, 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 blah. That's just a story. You don't want to step into that story other than taking care of yourself, being in your right mind. That means being in aligned to your authority, being in your right moment. This moment is not optimal for me to be watching the news. You go do what you want. I'm not doing it, right? What is an optimal right path for you? Now, as we move towards that and we have our metamorphosis, we have to free ourselves from these old karmic patterns. What does karma mean? I think it's really important to remember when I first learned about reincarnation and karma, coming from my culture, which was Protestant, but not very religious, not spiritual, it was just all about hard work and suffering. That was just the whole world was about hard work and suffering, and you should work hard all the time and be the best, but not think you're the best. So, I had no clue of this, and I started, my life fell apart, my business closed, nobody paid me, including department stores. It was epic. It was the end of the 80s, if you know the economic crash that happened then. And I was in the end of my 20s. I had no clue people didn't pay their bills. That was a shocker. I was like, huh? But you owe me money. Oh yeah, bitch? I'm in New York. You're in LA. Come and get it. Wham! That's the actual conversation I had with one of the stores that I had a fashion design company that I had sold my clothes to. Been trying to collect money from them for months, and she kept pretending she wasn't there, and then that was that. So for me, it was a massive breakdown of everything I've been taught and everything I've been told, and I had to go look for something different. And that's those moments that seem really difficult and challenging end up being some of the most powerful moments when you look back spiritually, when you're not in the story, okay? So you're living the story, you've written the story, you can direct yourself to go on a different path in this story because there's a lot of paths you could take in every moment. They don't have to be depressed and poor and suffering. They could be, I'm still in pain. I still don't have money. I still have all the things I had over there, but I don't see myself as repressed and depressed and something bad, is happening for me. So what we really want to do is realize that we have this capacity for release and transformation that means we don't have to die in our body. Now, if somebody does die in their body, it's okay. Don't get like, oh no, they didn't do it in time. Everything's optimal. Let people move on their path and then give yourself permission to move on your own right path. So take note. I highly recommend, and I'm sure it's going to be part of our multidimensional meditation that we're going to do in a few moments. We really want to be aware when something like this is happening and you have no clue why you're feeling what you're feeling. You can interpret it as the worst possible thing. I have been so intense with energies, not just because of what's happening right now, also because of my own personal chart. I'm a triple fire this year, and I am like, literally burning. My innards are burning, and it's just amazing how it reflects into the world physically. So I want things to happen, and I want to go fast, and it's got this whole thing going on, and it's like, okay, it's okay. It's okay. We're on the path. Just breathe through it. Use up the fire. So what you want to do is Monday I had a day of acceptance, and I call it a day of acceptance because everything came to a head. I was annoyed with everybody. I was pissed with everybody. Nobody was good enough. Nothing was good enough. And I don't ever see things that way anymore. And it used to be mainly towards me, rarely towards others. And I was never outwardly aggressive. And this energy was aggressive. And I was holding myself back and sending instructions to a few people on, about the yard or something. And I'm just like, just say thank you, just say thank you, just say thank you. So I just kept saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, because I knew my energy was very intense and it was pushing towards people, right? And so I wanted to make sure, ooh, back off, woman, calm down, right? So as we move into a place that we get an opportunity like right now. So it's going to be almost 29 years until Saturn, the karma master, the restrictive serious master, is also the mentor that makes sure you do what you need to do when you need to do it so that you're ready for what's coming. And so the two sides of everything, Mars is all aggressive and war. Well, there's also another side. There's a yin and a yang, above and below, within and without, a spiritual material, feminine, masculine. Duality is a part of everything we do. We cannot exist without duality. So what we want to do is say, oh, okay, what's the other side of this? So think about this. We're leaving Aquarius, so you have a few weeks now until the equinox, the full moon on the 7th, and then into the equinox, which is the start or the end of the astrological year. We're leaving Aquarius and going into Pisces. Pisces, the last sign. That also is significant in giving us more of this closure and completion energy. Okay, so the closure and the completion that we're being offered, is both from Saturn leaving Aquarius. That means Aquarius is air. That's mind or mental field. Now remember, the first law of the universal law or hermetic law is the law of mentality. The world is a mental creation. We are literally a mind, one mind. We're co-creating inside that mind with energies. Then we become the descended God. We come down, like the Mayans say, and we land on the top in the temple of the descending God. They have a little upside down person there. We're going to be there in March. We go do a beautiful activation at this temple on the ocean at dawn. It's epic. And the transformation that happens, because it's Kukulkan, the sacred serpent, the sun god, which is all life force. It is transformation because the snake knows how to shed its skin while fully forming the new, improved, more whatever within. It slides out of its old skin and it's already fully formed. It is accepting, I already have what I need within. And as soon as I let go of this old shit, now I can be who I am. I can be in the sun. I can express. And the rattlesnakes grow a new rattle and shed the skin, and that next rattle is there. And it's the equivalent of our crown chakra or our pineal gland, which is a pine cone shape or a lotus type of thing that grows new layers up, like the little Buddha, do we have one here? Oh, I have a lot of them. Oh, Ganesha has it on. The little temple hats. These are pineal glands. These are representing of building, awakening, and opening that inner eye that turns into an antenna. And this is the time of our awakening. We're awakening our intuitive selves. We're awakening to our subtle layers. We're awakening to all the realms being alive, everything being consciousness. No longer saying, I think dogs are smart. But actually realizing they have a soul, they have a purpose, they have a plan, they have a mission. Every single thing does. So we don't feel pity. We don't see anyone as a victim. And this is an opportunity. This ending of karma is an opportunity to end the victim mentality, seeing it in others, seeing it in yourself. If we don't believe it, we don't play that game. We walk a different way. Everyone we see, we're like, damn, you are one strong spiritual being. I am sending you love and light in whatever your path is, and I'm going to allow you to live that. Now, you will know when someone comes to you, they want your help. And I have to, I wasn't even going to talk about this. I'm going to do a show about this. There's these spiritual scams out there, and you have to be really careful. We're in a moment of a wave of desperation is moving through the world. The greed is being pushed to the top. Fear, lack, inflation, sense of not enoughness. It's like that wave before it crashes, and we no longer have to play that game anymore. So there's actually more and more, I've seen this for years now, more and more people are using spiritual language in their marketing, and they're not spiritual in any way, shape, or form. If somebody tries to push you, if somebody tells you you have a dark energy attached to you and that they'll fix it for you, that you need to hire them, and that you have some witch attached to you or some dark entity, or that they love your energy, that's either a dude trying to pick you up on Facebook, like those courses sell to everybody. You get those. I know you do, ladies. Like, I loved your picture. You have a nice smile. Would you like to be friends with me? Go away. Please be careful. Just because you're waking up in energy doesn't mean every person nowadays that says, I love your energy, I was attracted to you, is really spiritual, okay? In fact, the first thing I'd rather have you do is a little bit of caution. And you can avoid all worry about these kinds of manipulative ways of working. I've had clients email me that they're so upset that all the work they've done hasn't been for anything because somebody said, oh, I can see your energy and you have these dark entities attached to you, so you need to let me help you get them off. Or you can't work with anybody else. You only have to work with me, and then I'm going to fix you. I've had this happen to a client who got taken from being a very powerfully spiritual, she was clairvoyant, she traveled dimensions since she was a child, she see things, she would call me up and she had spirit guides next to her bed all night long telling, call Nan and tell her don't do XYZ. It's not, she doesn't need it for her path. Or call Nan. I was smashed my face very badly. Didn't know I had a concussion, had my face stitched up. The next morning I felt fine and she called me. Nobody knew. It was the middle of the night and told me, you got to get in bed right away, just like you had surgery. And I go, how do you even know something happened to me? And yes, I'm feeling fine. And she said, no, seriously. And bam, 30 minutes later, the concussion hit me. I couldn't see, walk, talk for days. And she told me there was these enormous white guides around me, and this was an upgrade, and all this stuff. So as I entered the bedroom, and I'm like, well, she's always been right before. I'm going to go see what's going on. And as soon as it came, I had already been transforming to be ready for it and to be grateful for it. Because the message came to me intuitively through her. Who cares how it comes? Okay. But if somebody is coming to you and being manipulative and telling, I would never in a million years, first of all, walk up to anybody that I didn't know personally who had not said, I'm interested in what you do. Okay. If I have a client and they pop in my head while I'm thinking about the dolphin retreat, I'll notice that. And if it happens a few times, I might send them an email, but they're already a client of mine. We already have an agreement. So you can't trust people that do that, because even if they don't have an evil intent to attach dark entities to you, they probably don't have any clue what they're doing, and they're showing you up front that they don't have any spiritual ethics at all. Because when you realize and understand energy work, you do not invade other people's space. You do not lie to them. You do not fake it. And you can get more, your energy field can be more screwed up than helped if you go to the wrong people. And I've never ever said anything like this before. It's always been true, but this has become an epidemic. So please be careful. Okay, now, let's go back to our beautiful, hopefully you guys are seeing me. My power went out there for a minute, but I think we're good. So let's go take a peek here at a little bit more about today before we move over. There we go. Okay. So, excuse me for a second. I'm going to have a little sip here. I'm working up to not having to use the slides. But when there's a lot of things going on, I get it down and I channel through things, and then I start to talk when we do this, and then I just want to review here. So we're looking at a huge karmic completion, and I want you to really get the heaviness of this. Today is going to be the most intense day because the sun and Saturn, it's like your sun, your ego, yourself, your life force, and there's been flares lately too, is shining directly at, okay, the Saturn. So all the karma that Saturn has brought up is in your face. I'm going to start on Sunday I don't know what time. You'll have to look here. Maybe you should subscribe, get notifications, or go to nanakasha.com, get on the list, so we'll send you a reminder. And I'm going to start a series with me and the guests and some guests between Sunday and March 7th when this karmic completion happens. I want the dolphins to have a place to speak to you more, because they've been coming to me so much now. They have so much to say. And they were saying to me the other day, you remember the pandemic and how many people were emailing you and me and telling you, oh, going to one of your retreats was on my bucket list. I wished I had done it, and now I can't go anywhere. And yet now people are being scooped up into fear rather than saying, oh, wow, what if this is never possible again? What if this is my last chance to do this? What if this is the moment I could go there, get recalibrated, go to the sacred Mayan pyramids, get my activation, transform and let go of the old, and enter the cosmic new year, the astrological new year on the equinox, because we will be on the temple on the equinox, do the sacred ceremonies, and have all this love, all this cleansing. Now, what difference would it make to building my business this year, or finding my soulmate, or whatever else is in your path this year? It's always going to support you to be at a higher level. Don't ever sacrifice your meditation or your personal time for anything else. It is the most important thing you do all day. So watch for those. Join me. This is my beautiful Shadia. I love Shadia so much. So Shadia and I did healing work for a couple of years together. Well, over a year. I think she was there before they moved her. They moved the dolphins around a little bit sometimes. She's on a cup here with me, and she's really a loving but queen kind of presence. So on the retreat, we play with the dolphins. This is not something the public gets to do. I know the owner, I was there when they started to develop the games, and they let us play ball with them. They love it. In fact, in the beginning, they didn't know what we were doing, and now they come and take the ball, and they throw it, and they're constantly throwing it. Sometimes you're looking the other way, and you get hit with a ball. We play like a pod. We swim like a pod, and they come right up to our face, and they love what we're doing. We do a floating meditation where they're free to go around and do healing work with you. We kiss and hug and play with them. It's just out of this world. There's just nothing else. And it's been several years since I've been there, and I'm so excited. I can't tell you how you feel between the brain bliss that they give you. This is during our floating meditation. And the ability to kiss them, you will understand that this is something that you will never forget this. Never, not ever. Even the monkeys come down and say hi. Then we are going to go to Tulum unless something redirects us to Kobab, both stunning, at dawn. So hopefully the sun will be coming up like it usually does over the water as we're here. And sometimes the group manifests special access. So we don't know. Maybe I'll send that to everybody. I wrote, if you're interested in this retreat or any retreats, let us know. We'll put you on an email list where we send little updates that we don't send to everybody. And I was really remembering how this is John at the last retreat on this temple, and right on the other side where I am is the ocean, and it's right on the cliff of the ocean. And the activations that I lead here include Atlantean energies going to other lives, going into the pyramids. Many times we have group past life memories. We had that twice with one group. And this was one time when we were suddenly given special access to the temple, again, right on the edge of the ocean. And we got to go up for about 10 minutes and do some toning before we did our other activations. We never know magic is going to unfold. And for you, when you decide to be a part of something like this, you start to co-create what happens. I get suddenly new places. Now we have this new cenote that we're looking at doing ceremony with Christian in. And it's just gorgeous. And we swim, purify, and tone. And this is our cacao ceremony. We do all these special ceremonies with the local Mayan tradition people, the foods, the cacao medicine. the sacred waters, the sacred energies, and the dolphins are playing a primary role this time. It's more dolphins, and it's 5 days, and the last one was 7. It was very intense, but that was by request. So I did it, and we had built up after 5 of those retreats to doing something so epic that Kukulkan, the serpent, returned to Chichen Itza. There's videos of it. If you didn't see this looks kind of like it's a giant snake that looks like a dust storm, and it's writhing and moving all around the pyramid on the equinox and up to the skies and back down again, exactly as they predict. It was quite stunning, and of course hardly anybody in the world knows that it happened. But that was an epic moment. So we did a 7-day very intense retreat with a lot of spiritual work, working with shamans and all that. This time is 1 full day, 2 half days with the dolphins, 2 ceremonies, and our house that we're having the event in has a beautiful private pool, and we're going to do lots of intuitive work, healing work, loving work. Also remember, this is a call I did here. It's a live stream, and it was a beautiful talking to the dolphins and receiving that beautiful thing. So oh, okay. I didn't know she was going to put that. So I did talk about that a little bit, and I'm going to do something. So just to give you a feeling of where we are all the way through the end of the month, there's no major planets in retrograde. So we are all forward. And we also are at a moment now where Mercury is full forward. So your communication should be clearer. Yesterday, Venus, love, was conjunct Neptune in Pisces. So lots of intuitive energy, lots of beautiful spiritual energy, and lots of love, really highlighting that inner part, highlighting love. So yesterday was a much better day for me, and not better, much lighter day. I really appreciated the Monday's intensity because I cleansed and cleared and released stuff that I would normally just keep carrying around, and it went so deep, and I was given an entire journey, a vision, and I went through a release and experience, reaching up out of this prisons. I was channeling my mother and this and other lives and other parts, people, and places, and the karma that's leaving. And I was just forced. I was just pushed and pushed and pushed until I burst. I erupted like a volcano, and I just exploded. And then at the end of chanting and doing crystal bowls and screaming and chanting all kinds of, I was chanting things for the whole world. And then I was chanting things about me, and I'm free now, and no more, and not enough, and free women now. And it was just epic. It was like, it was such an incredible thing. And Pele came in at one point because I'm like, okay, I'm a volcano. We better get Pele in here. And so I was working multidimensionally, and then at the end, it was like 5 minutes of just a howl coming through me and coming out of me. And I was just the channel for it. I was just standing there, it was coming out. And then I saw and felt myself release from this pod of dark, heavy, karmic patterns of being imprisoned and having my freedom taken away and never being enough and all of that stuff. And it kept attaching to me. I got out of the main thing, and I was just soaring up. So today we're doing the money intuition class too, and we're moving in from digging up all these old stories to now moving into a new story and seeing how these energies we're in right now are going to help us. Pretty awesome. So today, Sun conjunct Saturn in Aquarius, and remember, that's the mind. So the mind is air, but Aquarius is like electric air. It's like electricity. It carries a lot of information, but is it staticky? Is it flowing? Is it turned off? Is it clogged? Is it old wiring? Like, think that way of your mind. So the end of karma now is ending the mental patterns, and that's what creates your reality of restriction, limitation, imprisonment, and lack, especially lack of freedom. So then next week, before we meet again, you're going to have some beautiful energies. This is another royal star. So usually when there's a royal star, I do a little thing on it, and we'll talk about that. But Fomalhaut is the gatekeeper to the southern sky, represents transformation and death phase in the cycle of death and rebirth. That's what we're doing. We're completing. This is so awesome. Look at all of these energies that are coming to help us complete transformation. And it's also very highly creative. So when you free yourself from heavy thoughts like I'm never good enough and I have to please other people and I can't and I won't and I don't, it's so heavy that you don't have the energy. You don't have the ability to expand your intuitive network and clear it out so that you can receive and be in flow every day, all the time. There's always communication. All right. So we get to complete all that. And as we enter Pisces, so we're leaving that air. We don't want to go, oh, good, I'm leaving the mental state. We want to say, good, let's finish this out strong. I was a track runner, a basketball player, a volleyball player, and if you ever run a race, you never, ever, ever slow down before you go through the finish line. You know, we've all seen those painful footage of people running a race where oh, I've got this in the bag, and they slow down before they cross the finish line, and somebody, boom, right past them, right? So go through the finish line. Feel the dolphins. They're coming up to help. Come listen to my dolphin things. Come to the dolphin retreat. It's a perfect way to enter the new astrological year and to walk through the equinox. It's going to highlight anything and everything you've done. So as we enter Pisces, it's a very spiritual, intuitive, and boundaryless sign, okay? It's that flow, it's that infinite sea, it's that possibilities, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And we have no planets in retrograde, Mercury full force, all of that I told you, and the big energy today. So let's take a look more. The Pisces season begins on the 18th and runs until the equinox. That's the last sign of the zodiac. So that's another completion energy taking us up to the equinox. This is why I love equinoxes. So that means the equinox is not only powerful because of the balance and the path between the worlds that it provides, it's also the start of the astrological new year. Now, the Pisces new moon is the 19th. So the season begins, the sun in Pisces begins on the 18th, and the next day we have a new moon. On a new moon, we plant seeds. Well, if we spend the next few weeks freeing ourselves from old karma, just being willing. I don't know how. Do my cleanses, do my light body activations, do meditations, do whatever you do. Keep saying, I free myself from all these old patterns. And then you're going to find that you say, whatever I'm ready to plant, whatever is optimal for my highest good, I'm ready to plant this in this new moon. And I want to plant karma-free seeds. So we were talking about karma earlier, and I didn't finish that. Karma. When I first learned about it, I first thought, well, I can't believe it. It's too good to be true, for starters. Then I had my own experiences that proved to me, yes, we're multidimensional. Our soul is a piece of source that then created lots and lots of lives. They all exist already. And there's waves and waves of potential future lives that align with the highest potential of the design of your soul. So karma means when you do something and you decide something is true about it and you embed it within your soul. Let's take a particular life. I feel like I want to see you. So let's do this. I'll come back again. Hello. So you have many, many lives. Let's just say here's source, everything, and the big bowl of that. And this is your soul. And then the center of your soul, the consciousness of the soul that decided to be its own creator as a hologram, as part of the whole, the creator, the source, everything, said, oh, okay, wow, let's try this medieval life, and let's try this farmer life, and let's try this life as an astronaut, and let's try this, and let's try that. And there has been a constant creation of lives, lots of them on Earth, many, many, and other systems. I do these starseed sessions with people where, well, we don't know where we're going to go, but we connect with the starseed energy of their personal life, this life in their soul's relevance. And it could be the first star that you embodied a body on before you came to Earth. Earth is a star seed of yours. You're on Earth, okay? It could be a star seed where you went to school or you grew up. It could be a star seed where you started your mission, something that's relevant to the mission now. So there's a lot of those that you can see in those sessions. And so all these parts come together, and let's say you have, let's say that you have not one, but 22 lives where in some way your freedom was taken away. You were imprisoned, you were outcast, Someone stole your money, somebody took your money and your land and killed you or threw you in jail falsely or accused you. You were in a dungeon, you were a slave, you were forced into a nunnery. That was one of mine. Some people have happy nun lives. So again, both sides of the scale. Just was my particular thing. It was more of a prison. And anything like that. Then it manifests in this life because that's the point. Because this moment was designed and you came here. So pay attention to anything that is saying, hey, you don't have to feel this anymore. You don't have to believe this anymore. You don't have to, this just doesn't have to be part of your identity anymore. This doesn't have to be a part of your mind, your thoughts, your beliefs. You can clear it from the cells. You can flip the switches in your DNA to have something different as part of who you are, and your life and your body and your energy and your ideas and your happiness and everything will start to vibrate at a higher frequency. They'll start to flow in a frequency without those heavy beliefs. So a lot of fear comes up at times like this because it's the old energy. If I leave, if I change, will I lose what I had? Okay. I even had a client tell me that she's afraid to move forward into the things her life is opening to because and she pulled a card from a deck that showed her as an island, a little island all alone. And she started realizing that at some point in the past, she kind of separated herself from her power and her voice. And she just went to this place. And now she's afraid if I leave it, if I go back into my life, if I step back into my powers, whether I know how that looks or not, because you're never going back to be anything in the past. You're taking who you were designed to be, wisdom and experiences you've had, and they're blending into new soul potential. And the more you take advantage of these kind of moments, the more karma ends. So the idea of karma being a never-ending wheel, it's only a wheel until you step off of it. It's not something you're cursed with. It's not something you have to be stuck with forever. And Saturn feels restrictive and mean rather than I am just trying to make sure you're strong enough. You cannot go, do a triathlon because when all you do is eat potato chips on the couch, you'll die. Like you won't make it, So I'm going to get you prepared. So you can see these restrictions instead of feeling like you're pushing against them, because we're very much like spiritual children. We were told that everyone else has the authority over us. And then when we decide to take back our authority and our voice and do our own thing and do healing work or spiritual work or intuitive work or creative work or music work or whatever it is, that's not in the norm of the sheep and the plan to keep you bored to death and just live out your life like a battery feeding the society, then the fear comes up because of all the times you were told you can't, you won't, you don't, no, you can't have, and it was taken away from you. All right, so that's what's probably coming up now. This is stepping out of that karma. So when I say plant karma-free seeds, make sure that your energy, whether you have any clue what you want to put in those seeds or not, you're like, I don't know what to say. Then to put the energy, the quality, maybe just pick up your favorite stones. And these ones went to the pyramid with me for the full moon last week or whenever. So they're right here, under here. Malachite's been traveling with me everywhere because that's something we're working with in the money class, the intuition class. And so you can just hold those. You can just say, I want to fill these with the optimal energies for my highest good. I'm ready and willing to free myself from the past and the karma, known and unknown. I'm ready to walk through any fear and darkness because I know it's illusion. And I ask that my foot and my mind stay on the right path for what is optimal for my soul's growth at this time. Anything that just aligns you with the optimal energies, okay? Okay, so we're going to wrap this up here. What else do we have to say? So it is a big karmic release. And in the past, I probably would have gotten kind of stressed about, oh, am I doing enough? And I have to take advantage of this. And if I don't do it right, I won't get my big leap, won't happen for me. That's the first thing I want you to do is stop judging yourself. Make that part of the karma you're ending. So Saturn is the karma mastered, restrictions, structure, strict limits, and it's the end of this cycle. And the big cosmic event is that Saturn is leaving Aquarius, so we're completing the mindsets, the electrical wiring within us that says you can't and you can't be free. Now, when you enter Pisces, Saturn is going to be in all of that spiritual, all that boundaryless energy, and it's about structure. So we may start seeing structures within us, our mindset or our wealth perception or worthiness perception or our self-identity or how we see other people, structures within the government, structures within school, structures within family. We don't know how they're going to shift, change, blur, recombine, but we do know that Pisces brings balance. All right, so I think we talked about all of this. Yep. So we're going to say thank you to Saturn. That's what I started doing the other day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, I want to release this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I didn't realize how much of this was down there. If I can scream for 5 minutes, like that, and just have it come through me with no effort, then clearly that needs to exit the building. Okay? And I don't judge myself. I'm like, oh, I'm telling people this, but this is my process. My process is to work with whoever comes to my community in my classes or my retreats or as students, and we're on this path together. I see all these people having this pattern, then I personally get to be on that path too, but even more multidimensionally, because I'm in the path myself, and then I'm seeing everybody else, and then I get to see the patterns, and then I see what this person's doing or that person's shifting, because I'm not making anything happen. I'm developed my intuitive bodies and my energy bodies and studied mystery schools and shamanic and astral travel and all of that stuff. That is a part of my everyday reality. It's not something I strive for, hope for, or wonder if it's true anymore. So Pisces is going to bring you a lot of new intuitive messages. The key is, are you going to get lost in the wateriness of it and just feeling all good? Are you going to be able to put any structure to it? So another aspect of Saturn going into Pisces to me is that it's going to bring structure into the water. And have you heard of structured water? We just, I've studied structured water and made structured water many different ways with blue glass, Ho'oponopono. We learned about that many years ago. And one of my clients just brought it up. And structured water is healthy. Okay, it's rebalanced. So we could think of Saturn in Pisces becoming structured water that is good for us. Now remember, Pisces is both yin and yang. It's two fishes. They're above and below. That's significant. They're going in the same direction, but they're at opposite poles. Sorry for all my typos here. They travel through the same waters. They balance and feed each other, one after the other, one after the other. It becomes like, which one came first? You don't know, yin, yang. However, it's creating that flow. It's boundaryless, so you're going to feel your blocks and your limits to your intuition and to your healing abilities and all those spiritual things. They're going to start to fade. They're going to start to dissolve, and that's what you want. Okay. However, then you have to be careful for the spiritual scams. You have to be careful not to just be like, oh my God, every time somebody says something nice to me, that means that they love me, right? It isn't to be afraid of people. The more you balance within yourself, this could be an excellent place to create that balance. I can be in flow and be balanced, but I'm in my balance. So watch for those disappointments that could happen. Watch for seeing from two, oh, look, I see. Because when you raise your frequency and your intuition, like my students and my clients are doing, when you do this active work, you actually become more and more and more intuitive, but you're simply clearing and reconnecting your intuitive net, the network, the grid within you and the parts of it. And so this is in there, and you see more, and you see someone's potential, and you see the possibility, and you're seeing this rosiness, and they're not there. So you have to realize that you are going to expand and flow differently than the others around you. Just watch that you don't trust everybody and tell them everything. You want to take your spiritual or your worthiness, you're shifting your belief about yourself and your wealth, your worth, and your value. You want to take that very personally. Keep it inside. There's too much emotional attachment. And when you ask other people, they believe it's an opening to criticize. They believe you're saying, I need to know what you think, instead of believing what you know within. So just open yourself to more flow from within. Now the new moon, since we're completing karma soon, you can plant those karma-free seeds and give some structure to this flowing state, and it can be free from what you're releasing. Now, there's a lot of spiritual wisdom that can flow, so you have to be willing to step out of that old karmic pattern. Give yourself a visual, getting off the hamster wheel, stepping out of those old clothes, stepping, sliding out like a serpent, or like I was, like, oh, up, 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 freeing myself from this prison, this deep dungeon. So when you do that, you're going to find the duality, right? The Pisces will find a flow. And then you'll journey through the darker, heavier sides of your past lives and this life. And so you begin to see and feel the light at the end of the tunnel, because you go light and dark and light and dark. And you receive them both because they're both necessary. They're both here. But it doesn't mean the dark has to be dark, evil, restrictive. It can be dark, new moon, womb, loving, nurturing, void. Okay? Now, the moon's going to connect with Jupiter today, this afternoon. So you're going to feel an expansion of those emotions, those desires, that sacred feminine. And especially if you begin to feel overstimulated or overwhelmed, just know that that's it. And ask for Jupiter to, thank you very much. I would like to expand these feelings of joy, peace, alignment, belief that it's all here, that I am aligning with that future me that can do X, Y, Z. Okay? This is an excellent time to invest in your spirituality and your intuitive development. So as you're entering Pisces season and all the energies are moving forward, March is going to become very volatile at the end of it, which is another reason I highly recommend doing all these dolphin things, coming to the retreat, doing whatever you need to do to get ready for the next phase, because this year is going to go into a very different kind of year than it's been. It started out super slow. Now we're going fast. So Saturn's dissolving structures. That means committing to your light body activations, commit to your cleanses, commit to your meditations, commit to your routine of giving you self-time, self-care, and working with oracle cards, tarot cards, other forms of intuitive receiving intuitive messages is really great today or tonight, because it's expanding those receiving channels. And you may receive healing. You may receive some guidance of the sun is showing you, maybe it's shining through those curtains, showing you a new path beyond the veil or to your higher self. And then remember to watch, if you can, the western sky after sunset. Venus and Jupiter are having a love affair. It's wonderful, love and expansion, and it's the two brightest planets. So they're gorgeous. They're going to get closer and closer and closer to each other all through this year. So it's kind of like love is expanding, and good luck. And in the glow of the sunset, really a beautiful energy, meanings there. And also I've been seeing the crescent moon as we're moving towards that new moon. Just gorgeous, 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 a bright glow. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much. I hope that I will see you at my retreat or something else. Please contact me and let me know how I can be of service as you're moving through this epic and wonderful time. And I will see you in a few moments for our multidimensional meditation. What we do in that one is we take all the energies we just discussed, what's happening right now. So we're going to do a karmic completion. It's going to be some kind of a healing, some kind of a channeled, I don't know, they're going to come in, some kind of a channeled and wonderful experience, healing, meditation, activation. What I do is so multidimensional, so deep there that these words really don't describe it. And it will help you through all the way through March 7th, and then beyond that up to the equinox. So I hope I see you there, and thank you so much for playing with me. Thanks, Terry. A blueprint deliverer, star traveler, found in my Akashic record with an undertone of Hadar. Wonderful. You're that island. This is good news. Yes. It is hard not to have structure. I have had none for a year and a half, and I lost my dad. Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, sweetie. Hi, Brittany. Well, it's interesting because my nature, especially as a child, was I wanted no limits. I couldn't stand tight things on me. I didn't want to wear clothes. I was always taking my clothes off and my underwear off, and in the Midwest it was cold and I didn't care. I didn't want the undershirt and I didn't want the socks and I didn't want that. And And I was always told that I was too trusting and too happy and too in flow and too all this stuff, until I built my own inner prison and structure, right? To be good enough, to be what they wanted. That's what we all do. And now I realize I've come at different phases in my life, certain structure. Having businesses means you have to have some structure. I take in information. Oh, this is what everybody says. Okay. And this is what my intuition says. And this is what my business says. And this is what my heart says. And my soul blueprint says. And then I create my own thing. So my routine or structure has to support me. And that means I have to have time for myself, to go onto the beach, to walk or to swim, to just ponder, to just think, to chant, to dance, to do yoga. I have to have time to do my light body activations. I have to have time for these different things. So different days, I do it at different times, but I always make sure that the structure aligns to me. So on Monday, when I was screaming and venting and releasing all of this stuff and soaring into the skies, I came out, and when I finished, and I was just sweating and exhausted after hours of this on and off, and then the last was probably a full hour in a row, maybe 2, and then I just sat down the couch. I was in the casita, so I was in a different building. My beautiful Chris didn't hear any of it. And don't affect other people when you're venting or releasing. The releasing wasn't towards anyone. This was a releasing from me, right? But I sat down, and the first thing I thought was, thank you, Saturn. Thank you so much. By squeezing those restrictions tighter and tighter, it's a spiritual trigger to say, I'm not doing this anymore. If things are okay, you don't change. If things are in your comfort zone, you might be, well, I really want something different. I hate this job, but I can't leave, but I'm afraid to leave, but whatever reason. So you just stay there, and then you wish your life was different, but you just feel an inner dissatisfaction. Well, that's not staying there anymore. It's all being, and then it was free this structure now, because the karma master is bringing us into intuitive karma, right? Pisces karma is going to be, where's the karma that is the other end of the scale? Over here, you can't be intuitive. It's stupid. It's feminine. It's childish. It's bad. You're a witch. Blah, 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 like that. And then as we free that, now we're going into this, oh, I'm so spiritual. I'm so intuitive. And we could go to the other end of the scale, where that's like all we do and all we want to do. If you want to live in the world and make an impact, if you want to live your purpose and be really joyful because you're here to taste and sense and feel the 3D world, not tolerate it, then you want to find the balance between the two. Because we would just all lay around in our feminine, fabulousness, right? But then Pisces has yin and yang. So let that balance come. Balance. Oh, I can be here, and then I can be there. And then I feel those really high states, and I can feel what it was like when I felt trapped with the old states, but it's an illusion. So I just travel through and go, oh yeah. And I move up and down the scale in my day. Okay. You're so welcome, Luna, Marie. Love you guys. See you in a minute.